575 a.m. Also streaming live on www.radioseerah.com. You can download our free apps which are available from Apple or Android Store to listen with. Yes, as we are going through the summer holidays, just starting this week, we'll be insha'Allah ta'ala doing the Prophet series, starting from Hazrat Adam alayhi salam to some of the important prophets that we always hear in the Quran, insha'Allah. So today we're going to be talking about Habil and Qabil, the story of Qabil and Habil. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this in the Quran, this incident, this story. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واتل عليهم نبأ ابني آدم بالحق إذ قربا قربانا فتقبل من أحدهما ولم يتقبل من الآخر قال لأقتلنك قال إنما يتقبل الله من المتقين لئن بسطت إلي يدك لتقتلني ما أنا بباسط يدي إليك لأقتلك إني أخاف الله رب العالمين إني أريد أن تبوء بإثمي وإثمك فتكون من أصحاب النار وذلك جزاء الظالمين فطوعت له نفسه قتل أخيه فقتله فأصبح من الخاسرين فبعث الله غرابا يبحث في الأرض ليريه كيف يواري سوءة أخيه قال يا ويلتى أعجزت أن أكون مثل هذا الغراب فأواري سوءة أخيه فأصبح من النادمين. Relate to them, O Prophet, with truth, the story of the two sons of Adam, salam, when they offered a sacrifice. But it was accepted of one of them and not accepted on the other. The latter said, I will certainly slay you. The other said, Allah accepts only from the God-fearing. Yet if you stretch out your hand against me to slay me, I shall not stretch out my hand against you to slay you. Surely I fear Allah, the Lord of the worlds. I would rather wish you to bear the sin against me and your own previous sin, so that you may become one of the companions of the fire. That is the recompense of the evildoers. Even the soul prompted him, to slay his brother, and he slew him. So he became one of the losers. Then Allah sent a bird or a pigeon scratching the ground to show him how he might cover the corpse of his brother. He then said, woe to me, am I not able to be like this, like the bird, like this pigeon, as to cover my brother's corpse? And he became one of the remorseful ones. This is Suratul Ma'idah. So having identified the verses of the Quran concerning the story, let us now see what our predecessors, meaning the scholars, said about it. Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam married the son from one pair of birth to the daughter from another pair. So Habil was said to marry the twin sister of Qabil, who was older than him, and he himself wanted to marry his own twin sister because she was more beautiful than the twin sister of Habil, whom he was supposed to marry. Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam commanded him to marry Habil and let Habil marry his Qabil's sister, but he refused to obey. So Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam commanded them to each offer a sacrifice, and himself went to perform the Hajj. Both of them offered the sacrifices. Habil chose a fat ram for his own, from like the flock that he was owning, sheep and goats. Qabil, on the other hand, chose a cheap one, meaning not very costly animal, and he gave that for sacrifice. So a fire came down and burnt out the sacrifice of Habil, leaving that of Qabil untouched. So this further angered Qabil, and he was in terrible rage, and said to Habil, "I will kill you, that you may not marry my sister." He answered, "Surely Allah accepts only from those who are devoted to Him." This version was reported by Suradi, and it traced down to Ibn Mas'ud and some of the companions radiallahu ta'ala anhum. However, another version from line of transmission ending at Abdullah bin Amr tells us, "By Allah, the slain man was stronger of the two, but he precluded from extending his hand because of his piety and fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." So it is stated that Abu Ja'far al-Baqir, that Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam was watching the two of them presenting the sacrifices and acceptance of Habil's sacrifice and rejection of Qabil's. So Qabil complained to his father that Habil's sacrifice was accepted because he had prayed to Allah for Habil but had not prayed for him, Qabil. He threatened his brother that he would settle the score with him. One night Habil was late returning from home from his daily tending of sheep. So Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam sent his brother Qabil to fetch him and see what delayed him. When he went out, he found him there and complained to him that it has been accepted from you but not accepted from me. This caused Qabil to fly in rage and hit Habil with an iron rod that he had in his hands. It is also that he struck him with a stone that he aimed at his head while he was sleeping and fractured it. It is also said that he strangled him severely until he died and bit him as a predator animal would. Anyway, he died, and Allah alone knows the truth. The response of Habil when Qabil threatened to slay him, as we have seen in the verse of the Quran, shows that he possessed a good moral character and feared Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why he refrained from opposing his brother and wishing ill for him as he had wished for him. Therefore, hadith in Bukhari as well as Muslim confirms the saying of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that if two Muslims take out their swords against each other, then both the slayer and the slain will be in hellfire. He was asked that was the slayer, but what had the slain done? He replied that he was eager to kill the other man. This is mentioned in Bukhari hadith as well. According to the Quran, Habil had made it clear that he had no intention to slay his brother Qabil, although he was stronger and more powerful. He said, "If you bear evil intentions, I have no such in mind," meaning I don't have that kind of thinking. But you may bear the sin against me and your own sin as well, so that you will commit murdering me and what you have committed earlier. This is what was reported by Mujahid and others. And moving on, that no soul is killed unjustly, but the first son of Adam bears a part of that sin because he was the first to initiate the sin of murder. Al-Hafiz ibn Asakir has stated that he dreamed that Habil prayed to Allah that he make the place of his murder a place where supplications are answered. His prayer was granted, and the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that he, Abu Bakr, and Umar used to visit that place every Thursday. This was a dream, and though Ahmad bin Kathir has affirmed it, the injunctions of Sharia do not apply to it, but Allah knows best. Regarding the verse, فَبَعَثَ اللَّهُ غُرَابًا, Allah sent a raven, meaning a bird. Some people say that after murdering Habil, Qabil carried him on his back for a year, wondering how to dispose of the corpse, and some others say that he carried the corpse for 100 years until Allah sent down the bird. So it transmits from the companions of radiallahu ta'ala anhum that the ravens fought one another and until one of them killed the other. After he had killed him, he dug a hole in the ground and buried his dead companion into it. When Qabil observed this, he remarked, "Woe to me, I am not able to be like this bird or pigeon and to cover the corpse of my brother." So he did as the raven had shown him and buried his brother. So this is the historian tells us that Sayyidina Adam was very sad about it. And Imam Jafar bin Jarir has mentioned in his Tariq about some of the descendants of Sayyidina Adam in Islam, that he has said that also Sayyidah Hawa gave birth to 40 children through 20 deliveries, and Allah knows best. It is also said that she had 120 pregnancies, in each of which a son and a daughter was born, the first being Qabil and his sister Qalima, and the last Abd al-Mughith and his sister al-Mughith. Therefore, after mankind spread over far and wide and multiplied, as Allah said, يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء. O mankind, fear your Lord, who created you from a single person, and from him he created his mate, and from the twain, meaning he spread abroad many men and women. The historian tells us that Sayyidina Adam did not die before seeing his children and the children of his children, so on for hundred thousands of them. But Allah knows best. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالَّذِي خَلَقَكُم مِّن نَّفْسٍ وَاحِدَةٍ وجعل منها زوجها ليسكن إليها فلما تغشاها حملت حملا خفيفا فمرت به فلما أثقلت دعوا الله ربهما لئن آتيتنا صالحا لنكونن من الشاكرين فلما آتاهما صالحا جعل له شركاء فيما آتاهما فتعالى الله عما يشركون. He is Allah, who created you from a single being and made of him his spouse, that he might find repose in her. Then when he covers her, she bears a light burden and passes about unnoticed with it. But then when she grows heavy, the twain call upon Allah the Lord. If you give us a righteous child, he certainly shall be of grateful. But when he grants it, meaning a righteous child, they ascribe to him associate in respect of that which he has granted them. Allah to exalted to Allah high above what they associate with him. It must be known that the address is first to Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam and then to mankind as whole. It does not mean that the address is only to Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam and Hawa, because the names are mentioned. We see examples of this kind of reference in the Quran itself in Surah Al-Mu'minun. There is an Israeli tradition about the children of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam and Sayyidina Hawa alayhi salam, but they all are imaginations, including one that says that the children used to die in infancy until one was born and named Abu Harith on the prompting of the devil. Scholars of Hadith have rejected this such a tradition. And it continues, inshallah ta'ala. And then let us mention, inshallah ta'ala, another occasion, the death of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, and the instructions to his son Sheeth alayhi salam as well. And then we move on to the next Prophet, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakallah for listening to today's program. From me, Mulana Uzaifa, I'll take leave now. And inshallah ta'ala we'll continue with more series of the Prophet, inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.